Welcome to Scattered, the podcast that's all over the map in the best way possible. From pro wrestling to pop culture, from mental health to the Buffalo Bills, and everything in between. If it's interesting, we're talking about it. And now, here's your host, the king of variety, the master of ADD, and the guy who proves being all over the place can be awesome, Brian Fink.
Welcome everyone to a brand new episode of Scattered. I am the host with the most. I got to figure out a good host with the most, because I think of Beetlejuice a lot when I say that, but he was the ghost with the most. And the intro says all that stuff about ADD and the Bills and all that. And believe me, we're going to get to the Bills. The theme of this episode actually has a lot to do with them. For those who know, the Bills lost in the AFC Championship game to the Kansas City Chiefs. Some things never change, and that's okay. It's not okay that they lost, but it's the lesson that I learned while watching them lose that really inspired today's episode. Because today is going to be all about perseverance, fighting the good fight, keep punching. A lot of Rockyisms are going to be in this episode, but I think they hold true. So we're going to talk about the game. We're going to talk a little bit about the Bills season, and we're going to talk about how that relates to all of us. How the song like In the End by Linkin Park, even though it's a depressing song, it is a slapper, or it slaps, whatever you kids say today. But it is an awesome song. But the whole notion that I tried so hard, got so far, in the end, it doesn't even matter. A lot of people are feeling that way. I know a lot of sports fans, especially fans of the Bills right now, and the Commanders, in fairness, probably feeling that way. So we're going to explore that a little bit. We're going to tie that to some personal experiences that I had this month. And my hope is that with me sharing, that you guys will get a little bit of insight into yourself and find your inner Rocky Balboa, so to speak, and keep punching. So that's going to be what today is about. It's going to be Bills. It's going to be perseverance. It's going to be keep on punching. Let's go. Let's enjoy the ride. In April of 2024, the Bills traded their star wide receiver, Stephon Diggs, to the Houston Texans. Not long after, they traded Gabe Davis, their number 2 wide receiver, to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They got rid of Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde, their 2 all-pro safeties, and Tre'Davious White, their all-pro cornerback. This was supposed to be a rebuild year for the Buffalo Bills. Every great sportscaster, from Stephen A. Smith to Skip Bayless, if you want to call him great, to Keyshawn Johnson, who is a Bills hater, to the biggest Bills hater of them all, Nick Wright. Everybody wrote off the Buffalo Bills. It was going to be a rebuild year. The Jets had Aaron Rodgers. They were too good. We saw what Miami did last year. They were excellent. They're going to be the ones to dethrone Buffalo. Everyone counted the Bills out. Yet, the Bills went on to have a 13-4 record in the regular season, and they didn't play their starters in the last game. So really, they won close to 14. I'm going to put an asterisk next to the 13. And they did it by passing the ball around and sharing the spotlight. Everybody eats was the mantra. The Bills then went in, and they were the favorites in the opening round of the wild card, and they beat the dog tar out of the Denver Broncos, who in their own right completely overachieved this year. The following week, it was the battle of the 2 MVPs, Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. The Bills were at-home underdogs, and in spite of that, they overcame the odds, and they beat the Baltimore Ravens in the divisional round, setting up for the AFC Championship game with the Kansas City Chiefs and the almost GOAT at this point, Patrick Mahomes, who's on the verge of three-peating Super Bowl wins, which has never been done in the NFL. But for the 4th time in the postseason, Josh Allen and his squad of the Buffalo Bills fell short against the Kansas City Chiefs. There was a lot of heartbreak that I felt, that many of the Bills Mafia felt, and that sports fans around the world felt. We felt for these guys who had fought so hard, the underdogs, the guys who kept fighting, the guys who overcame the odds. We felt for them. As I sit here tonight, I feel for them. It's been a few days and the scar is still there. It's new, it's tender. But I think that maybe, just maybe, we need to look at this a little bit different. Yes, if you're a lifelong Bills fan like I am, you remember the Jim Kelly 4 Super Bowls. You remember the 2 most painful words in Buffalo Bills history, wide right. You remember the 13-second game. You remember all the times we came up short. You remember the 17-year drought where we didn't even make the playoffs. But you know what you also remember? You remember some tough bastards who kept playing and picked themselves up and went right back at it. The Bills have fallen more times than I can count, more times than I can take half the time. And yet every year in September, they start up again. And every year they work their ass off. And every year they make it. And Josh Allen right now has been busting his ass. That entire team busted their ass this year, and they're going to do that again. They may not have made the Super Bowl, but they'll be back next year. And that, to me, is what champions do. They don't quit. They keep showing up. That's how winning is done. I told you I was going to get some Rocky stuff in here, but it's true. That's how you go from, that's the mindset that you need. That's the mindset that we all need, to keep picking ourselves up, to keep moving forward. But it's not always easy. It's not. And I'm going to share some personal experience from this month. As you guys know, this is my first month back at my job after being out for a couple of months due to long COVID. I started this job last February and went through the training. It was really good. Then when I got on the sales floor, there was some chaos. There were some unexpected movements in personnel, and I was given a very, very easy for me to say. I'm not even going to edit that out because this is real and it's raw. Anyways, I was given some really, really challenging accounts, but also some really good rewards because people had been moved around or people had left or whatever the situation was. I found myself with some really good accounts that turned into a really decent summer for me to start out. And I was very blessed, but I was given a challenge and I'd like to think I rose to the occasion. I then got sick and I had to leave and I was gone for 2 months. And I came back at the beginning of January, the last week of December, really. But basically, this was my first month back. And guys, I'm going to be very open and I'm going to be very honest. I fell very short of my expectations for what I was looking to achieve. And I think I fell short of the company's, to be honest. The company has expectations, as any company would. And I fell short of them this month. And I was very discouraged with myself. I could have used the excuse, hey, it's my first month back. You know, what did you expect? But I'm not going to do that. That's not who I am. I don't want to make excuses. So I sat with my manager in a one-on-one, and I expressed to them my frustration and my, as I called it, embarrassment. And I realized as I was saying those words that, yeah, it sucks. And the expectations should be there to do better. But what's done is done. Now it's time to grow. It's time to learn. It's time to pick myself up. Because it's okay to stumble when you're getting back into the swing of things. It's okay to feel like you're having a bit of a rough go. You can acknowledge setbacks, but let's not let them define us. So much like the Bills, again, they had a setback, a big setback. Their season ended. I had a setback this month. What am I going to do different? I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to grow from it. And next month, I'm going to reach my expectations that I have for myself. I'm going to reach the expectations that the company has for me. I am going to make sure that I work my butt off. And I'm not going to let these things hold me down. Because again, as Rocky says, it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Or conversely, in the same movie, his brother-in-law, Paulie, tells him, it takes guts going in there knowing you're going to take a beating. And sometimes you know you're going to take a beating, but it's that guts, it's that determination, it's that will to win that is going to separate us. Life is a constant fight. You're going to take hits, but the real victory is going to come in how you respond. The Bills are going to go back to the drawing board. They're going to draft people. They're going to have training camp. They're going to have practice, and they're going to go at it again next year. I am going to continue to buckle down. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to push myself to the expectations that I know I deserve and to those that I know I can achieve. I could have stayed down after the rough start this month, but instead I chose to lean on my supports and keep moving forward. And that's something that I really want all of us to do, because this fight that we're in, we're not in it alone, guys. It may seem sometimes like the weight of the world is on our shoulders, but we're not alone. The Bills have a 53-man roster. They have a coach. They have a general manager. They have facilities. They have supports. Me, I have the greatest friends that I could ever ask for. I have the most loving, supporting family. And to be perfectly frank, and I don't say this just because one of my bosses is a subscriber. Thank you very much, by the way, for listening. But I have great supports at work. My manager sits me down to talk to me. She listens to what I have to say. I have a team leader who is awesome. I have a senior supervisor who is always willing to give advice. So I'm going to lean on those supports, and I'm going to get through this. And I want you guys to lean on your supports to get through, to pick yourselves up, to persevere. That's what the Bills are doing. That's what I'm doing. Again, none of us do it alone. We all have a team, family, friends, coworkers, people who are there to lift us up. When I went in this month and I told my boss I was embarrassed by my performance, she was understanding. She told me she could understand frustration, but not to let myself be embarrassed. And she was right. She supported me. She helped lift me up. My coworkers helped lift me up. My wife, God bless her, helped lift me up. My daughter, her smile alone, her faith in me, lifts me up. Guys, find your supports and don't hesitate to lean on them. It does not make you weak. That's why we have them. Normalize asking for help. It's how we stay in the fight. It's how we keep punching. So remember, Rocky's line, that's how winning is done. I want you guys to face challenges head on. I want you to know that you have the strength to keep going and to support yourself and lean on your supports. I'm always here too. Brian Fink, scattered@outlook.com. Let's connect. Let's talk. Let's see what's going on. Let's be each other's supports and let's rise up together. Because again, it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. Life isn't about avoiding the failures. It's about showing up, taking hits, and coming back stronger every time. And that's what the Bills are going to do, and that's what I'm going to do. So for one more time this year, I say, hey, let's go Buffalo. Guys, let's stay scattered, but let's stay connected. Make sure you join my community. You could choose to join the newsletter that comes out every month. You can follow me on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. Guys, I'd love to hear from you. Brian Fink, scattered@outlook.com. Send me a message. I'd love to hear from you. Keep punching.